Have you ever wondered why a simple vitamin found in carrots, spinach, and liver can mean the difference between healthy vision and permanent blindness in a child? Today, we are going to explore vitamin A, its science, its role in the body, and the clinical strategies used to prevent one of the most preventable causes of childhood blindness in the world. Let's start with the biochemical foundation of vitamin A. It exists in two main forms. The first is preformed vitamin A or retinol, which comes from animal sources like meat, fish, milk, and eggs. This form is highly active and directly utilized by the body. It's available as retinol, retinyl acetate, and retinyl palmitate. The second form is provitamin A, made up of carotenoids from plant sources. These require intestinal conversion before the body can use them, and beta-carotene is the most common form, along with alpha-carotene. When we talk about measuring vitamin A, one retinol activity equivalent equals 1 microgram of retinol, which is the same as 3.33 international units or 12 micrograms of beta-carotene. And here's something fascinating. The liver acts like a battery for vitamin A. It stores the vitamin primarily as retinol palmitate, and under normal conditions, a well-fed human carries a massive physiological reserve, enough to meet the body's needs for 6 to 9 months. So why does the body need all this vitamin A? It plays four essential roles. First, vision. It's indispensable for producing rhodopsin, the visual pigment in the retinal rods that allows us to see in dim light. Second, epithelial integrity. It maintains the structural integrity and glandular function of mucosal linings across the intestinal, respiratory, and urinary tracts, as well as the skin and cornea. Third, structural growth. It's crucial for cellular differentiation and healthy skeletal development. And fourth, immunological defense. It drives anti-infective responses, and when deficient, immune capability drops rapidly. There's also an interesting paradox worth noting. Diets naturally rich in vitamin A and beta-carotene show protective trends against certain epithelial cancers. But clinical trials have revealed that high-dose beta-carotene supplements can paradoxically increase the risk of lung cancer and death in active and former smokers. Now, where do we actually get vitamin A from? Dietary sources fall into three categories. Preformed sources are high in density: liver, fish liver oils, dairy, and eggs. But caution is needed here, as they're the richest source yet carry a high risk of excessive cholesterol and vitamin toxicity if consumed frequently. Provitamin sources are highly accessible. Dark green leafy vegetables, orange and yellow fruits like mango and papaya, and roots like carrots and sweet potatoes. And fortified sources serve as public health vehicles: margarine, fortified milk, cereals, and vanaspati. As a global health priority, spinach and amaranth are considered the cheapest and most abundant natural sources, vital for preventing deficiency worldwide. And remember the rule: the darker the green leaf, the higher the carotene content. Let's now look at what happens when this vitamin is missing. The cascade of failure in deficiency. It begins with an ocular molecular block. The absence of retinol impairs rhodopsin regeneration in the retinol rods, causing night blindness. This progresses to a cellular shift, where goblet cells are lost and mucosal membranes undergo keratinizing metaplasia, leading to epithelial drying or xerosis. This then causes barrier collapse, the breakdown of respiratory and intestinal mucosa, leaving the body vulnerable to systemic infection. And finally, there's a hematological impact. A failure of iron mobilization results in anemia of chronic inflammation. There's also what we call the protein paradox. Severe protein energy malnutrition halts the liver's synthesis of retinol binding protein. In severely malnourished patients, vast reserves of vitamin A may actually be trapped in the liver. Administering vitamin A without simultaneously treating the underlying protein deficiency will fail, because the transport mechanism itself remains broken. This brings us to the Xerophthalmia spectrum, the ocular manifestations of deficiency laid out across 4 phases. Phase 1 is functional loss and reversible night blindness, the earliest clinical symptom, where the person has trouble seeing in dim light due to functional rhodopsin failure. Phase 2 is surface metaplasia, also reversible. This includes conjunctival xerosis, where the conjunctiva becomes dry, dull, and wrinkled. Bitot spots, which are dry, silvery gray, foamy triangular plaques on the bulbar conjunctiva, and corneal xerosis, where the cornea loses transparency and appears hazy and dry. Phase 3 is a structural emergency requiring urgent attention. Corneal ulceration, a superficial defect melting less than one-third of the corneal surface, and Keratomalacia, a grave emergency involving liquefaction, necrosis, and melting of at least one-third of the cornea, carrying a real risk of permanent vision loss. And Phase 4 represents permanent damage, corneal scarring, the healed residual scarring from prior ulceration, and xerophthalmic fundus, spotty white retinal lesions, indicating long-standing deficiency. But the damage doesn't stop at the eye. Deficiency causes extraocular systemic failure as well. The most dangerous is what we might call the invisible killer, immunological decline. This is the primary driver of childhood mortality in deficiency, as plunging immune defenses lead to drastically increased severity and mortality from systemic infections, most notably measles, pneumonia, and diarrheal diseases. There's also dermatological decay known as Phrynoderma or toad skin, characterized by severe follicular hyperkeratosis, dry skin, and generalized hyperkeratosis of mucosal surfaces. Hematological suppression causes impaired red blood cell production and iron deficiency anemia due to a systemic failure to mobilize iron stores. And growth impairment leads to anorexia, stunted growth, and significantly delayed skeletal and bone development in children. How do we assess this clinically? Through laboratory and dietary assessment. Serum retinol below 10 micrograms per deciliter is critical. 10 to 19 micrograms per deciliter indicates depleted stores, and 20 to 60 micrograms per deciliter is considered normal. The recommended dietary allowance is 700 micrograms RE daily for men and 600 micrograms RE daily for women aged 19 to 64. In terms of risk segmentation, geographic and life stage risks are highest among premature infants, young children in endemic areas, and pregnant and breastfeeding women in developing nations. Pathological malabsorption is another concern. Gut mucosal breakdown prevents lipid and retinol absorption in individuals with cystic fibrosis, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, and ulcerative colitis. From an epidemiological standpoint, the target population is high-risk preschool children aged 6 months to 6 years. Specific prevalence thresholds define a public health problem: night blindness above 1%, Bitot spots above 0.5%, corneal xerosis or ulceration above 0.01%, corneal scarring above 0.05%, and biochemically, serum retinol below 10 micrograms per deciliter in more than 5% of the population. The presence of any single one of these thresholds dictates the need for immediate public health intervention. And remember, the biochemical baseline for normal serum retinol is 20 to 60 micrograms per deciliter, with levels below 20 indicating depleted body stores. So, what's the clinical strategy for restoration? Restoring the light and the barrier. For urgent triage in active xerophthalmia, the indication is to administer treatment immediately to all children with corneal ulcers, since this is a grave medical emergency. The protocol involves a massive oral dose of 200,000 international units or 110 milligrams of retinol palmitate in oil given on 2 successive days. For short-term prophylaxis, we have the National Vitamin A Prophylaxis Program. This strategy leverages the liver's 6-month storage capacity to immunize communities against nutritional blindness with dosing cycles repeated every 6 months. Infants aged 6 months to 1 year receive 100,000 international units, while children aged 1 to 6 years receive 200,000 international units. And for long-term prevention, systemic integration is key. Dietary diversification through education on carotene-rich plants and incorporating animal sources, alongside disease control measures that mitigate systemic contributors like protein energy malnutrition, measles, diarrhea, and respiratory infections. Now, it's important to understand the therapeutic window because vitamin A also carries real safety risks. On one end, we have deficiency, leading to xerophthalmia, immune collapse, and mortality. In the middle lies optimal health and shield, but there is a teratogenic warning here. Strict avoidance of high-dose preformed vitamin A supplements and frequent liver or part A consumption is required during pregnancy due to a high risk of birth defects affecting the eyes, skull, lungs, and heart. Beta-carotene, being plant-based, does not carry this risk. On the other end of the spectrum lies hypervitaminosis A, or toxicity. Acute toxicity occurs above a threshold of 3000 micrograms RAE or 10,000 international units from preformed retinol or supplements, with symptoms including severe headache, nausea, blurred vision, dizziness, liver stress, and in severe cases, coma or death. Chronic toxicity poses a bone risk. Chronic intake above 1.5 milligrams per day over years significantly increases fracture and osteoporosis risk, which is highly critical for postmenopausal women. And here's a simple rule to remember: if eating liver once a week, abstain from all vitamin A supplements. Let's bring this together. Biochemical duality. Preformed vitamin A is potent but toxic in excess. Provitamin A is safe and accessible, and the liver stores a 6 to 9 month reserve. Systemic pathology. Deficiency isn't just ocular. The real killers are mucosal breakdown and immune collapse against infections like measles. Public health elegance. Biannual mega doses of 100,000 to 200,000 IU exploit this liver storage to wipe out nutritional blindness in at-risk children. And the therapeutic window. Preformed retinol has a narrow safety margin, so clinicians must watch for teratogenic risk in pregnancy and bone fracture risk in older adults, especially with liver and supplements combined. If you found this video useful, please like and share with your friends and colleagues. Thank you.